Hello and welcome back to the Surfer's Library, proudly presented by Hillsborough Surf Club. I'm Billy Jack, your guide through the pages of surf history, culture, and legends. Today I want to do something a little bit different. Recently we lost a couple of members of our tribe. Last month we lost Mike Hynson, and then last week we lost Dale Dobson. Both were legendary surfers. Mike Hynson you'll know from the Endless Summer. Dale Dobson, though probably not as famous outside of the surfing world, was one of the most successful competitors of all time. I think I was reading somewhere that if you were to do competition numbers, he had won more competitions than Kelly Slater. Really just want to take a second and read a little something on both these individuals just because they were so important to surfing. So Mike Hynson was born June 28th, 1942, and he passed away on January 10th, 2025. He was 82 years old. Quick search on the internet pulled up the following. Mike Hynson, renowned for his role in the seminal 1966 documentary The Endless Summer, passed away at the age of 82 in Encinitas, California. Born in Crescent City, California, Hynson's surfing journey led him to become a pivotal figure in the sport. His collaboration with filmmaker Bruce Brown in The Endless Summer showcased surfers traveling the globe in search of a perfect wave, bringing surfing culture into the mainstream. Beyond his on-screen presence, Hynson was a visionary surfboard designer known for innovations like the red fin model with Gordon and Smith. His contributions significantly influenced surfing techniques and board designs, leaving an indelible mark on the sport. So then I went over and I looked where I always look when I'm trying to find something that has to do with surfing that I know about, and that is Matt Warshaw's Encyclopedia of Surfing. If you haven't joined that or have a subscription to that, you probably should, because it has just about everything that you need to know on the sport. Swaggering American surfer and surfboard shaper designer from San Diego, California, co-star of the 1966 crossover hit The Endless Summer, and creator of the popular Gordon and Smith-produced Redfin signature model. Hynson was born in 1942 in Crescent City, California, the son of a career Navy man. He spent his early years moving back and forth between Hawaii and the mainland, before settling down with his family in the mid-50s in San Diego's Pacific Beach, where he began surfing. Nimble and athletic, Hynson quickly became one of the area's best riders. Surfing Hawaii for the first time in late 1961, he was one of the first to ride pipeline on Oahu's North Shore. In 1963, right when Hynson began looking for reason to leave the country to avoid the draft, filmmaker Bruce Brown asked if he wanted to go around the world to shoot The Endless Summer. Hynson jumped at the chance. The blonde-haired regular footer was paired with dark-haired goofy footer Robert August. Along with Brown, the two surfers visited Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Tahiti, and Hawaii. Hynson's sublime first ride at Cape St. Francis, the right breaking point surf the group discovered in South Africa, memorably presented as the answer to the search for the perfect wave, was the movie's high point. Hynson was a surfer of great composure, never straining, and subtly arranging his arms, legs, and head and torso into positions that would come to define proper surfing style. He was one of the sport's great masters of trim, often letting his board run on a straight, elegant line. Handsome and cocky, Hynson was also a trendsetter on the beach, with surf racks on his Jaguar sports car, a wardrobe full of stylish clothes, and his hair always combed neatly back from his forehead, even while in the water. He was the golden boy, his former wife said in 2001, and everyone wanted to be like him. Never particularly interested in surfing competition, Hynson nonetheless had some good results throughout the decade, placing fourth in the 1963 Malibu Invitational, second in the 1965 Tom Morey Invitational, and second in the 1969 Santa Cruz Big Wave Contest. He was also selected for the Duke Kahanamoku Invitational in 1965, 1966, and 1967, and was a founding member of the rowdy but intensely competitive Wind and Sea Surf Club in 1963. A commercial surfboard shaper since 1959 and a star on the Hobie surfboard shaping roster in 1963, Hynson returned from his endless summer travels, jumped over to Gordon and Smith surfboards, and soon released the Tri-Stringer Hynson model, a signature board later known as the red fin for its distinctive blood-red skeg. Many of the era's best surfers rode Hynson's boards, including Billy Hamilton, Barry Kanayapuni, Butch Van Arsdale, and Herbie Fletcher. Hynson also designed and built the H1, HY1, and HY2 models for Gordon and Smith, helped develop the control-enhancing tucked-under edge surfboard rail in the 1960s, and created the Doll fin in 1973, a popular fin design patterned after a dolphin's dorsal fin. In 1970, Hynson opened the short-lived Rainbow Surfboards in La Jolla, a combination surf shop and juice bar. Plagued by drug and alcohol problems since the late 60s, Hynson later spent time in jail and lived on the streets. A long simmering feud with Bruce Brown led Hynson to sue the filmmaker in 1995 for a share of the Endless Summer profits. The lawsuit was dismissed in 2000. At an Endless Summer reunion in 2001, however, Hynson somewhat amicably joined Brown in August to meet fans and sign autographs. Aside from Endless Summer, Hynson appeared in more than a dozen other surf films, including Surfing Holidays, Angry Sea, Inside Out, and Cosmic Children. He's also featured in a surfing sequence for Rainbow Bridge, the 1972 documentary featuring Jimi Hendrix in concert on Maui. Hynson was cited by Surfer magazine in 1985 as one of the 25 surfers whose surfing changed the sport. So again, Mike Hynson, probably one of the most well-known surfers around the world, just due to the fact that The Endless Summer is one of the greatest surf movies, if not the greatest surf movies of all time, released across America and around the world. And it was the first movie that really showcased surfing in a form that it was more acceptable to surfers themselves. Most of the time when we see surf movies, they don't reflect anything that surfers are about. Now, as corny as they are, we come to love them years later. I love The North Shore. I love most movies that have to do with surfing, even like Gidget, stuff like that, that's pretty corny. But they do reflect the time that the movie is made. But The Endless Summer, through and through, was very representative of surfing at the time. Bruce Brown was a surfer himself, was ingrained with the crew that he was filming. And Mike Hynson was one of those guys. So I grew up watching that movie. Earlier in life, I was a big fan of Robert August just because growing up in Huntington Beach, I saw Robert August. Robert August was a very nice guy. He played, kind of I don't want to say the nicer of the two, but he definitely came across that way. Mike had the dashing good looks. He seemed very cocky. He got the girl in The Endless Summer, things like that. So I think that he just came across differently. Now, as I grew older and I learned more and more about surfing, I grew to appreciate Mike Hynson. He is left out of a lot of conversations that he shouldn't be. Whenever we speak of the downturned rail, Mike Hynson had as much to do with it as anybody else. So I'm not going to go into a bunch of that right now. I do plan on featuring Mike's autobiography in the first full book season that we'll be doing here. Luckily, Donna Jost, who wrote the book with him, has allowed us to be able to read the book. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be reading the entire book in the second season. But as far as Mike Hynson goes, I'm sad to say I never got to meet him. I do have his autograph. He is one of those individuals that I would have loved to have met, but you don't always get to meet your heroes. So sadly, Mike Hynson has left us, but his memory will be around for a very, very long time. Next, let's talk about Dale Dobson. Dale Dobson was a more interesting person in terms of trying to find information on him. I remember seeing Dale Dobson in a lot of surf movies. He's in one of my other favorite movies, 5 Summer Stories by McGilvery Freeman Films. He is called out as one of the competitors at the Huntington Beach, I think it was the United States Championships in Huntington Beach in 1970. I want to say. He's in a number of movies, and he pops up all over the place. And I don't know how I didn't know more about him. I remember him being in all of the longboard contests in the late 80s, early 90s. And then not too long ago, I remember hearing Joel talk about the fact that Dale Dobson was one of the most ferocious competitors he ever went up against. Interestingly enough, I was also listening to the Boardroom podcast earlier today. Check it out. It is episode 101. It's hosted by Scott Bass. He was interviewing Chris Ahrens, who is an author. He writes a lot of books about surfing. I'm definitely going to go check him out. He was not on my radar, I'm embarrassed to say, but after listening to that podcast, I'm definitely going back and going to be checking out more of his work. But I had been planning to do this little section on Dale and Mike for about a week now. And I just thought it was funny that Dale Dobson comes up while they are talking, and they start talking about Dale Dobson and about his influence and how he was just all over the place. And it seems as though they agree that he doesn't really get as much credit as he should have gotten. So I want to make sure that I at least share something on here. One of the things I also wanted to point out was if you go and you try to find things out about Dale Dobson, it can be a little bit difficult. Whenever I do my research on this, I'll like to fact check it. And his exact birth date, I didn't find it in a lot of my other research. I found an article that was talking about he had turned 78 years old 10 days before. And so that led me to understanding that his birth date was on February 10th, 1947. But go out there and try and find dates on Dale Dobson, and you'll find a little bit more difficult than you would expect. He passed away on February 28th of 2025, so basically last week. And so this is what a random search pulls up regarding Dale Dobson. Dale Dobson, a celebrated figure in the surfing world, passed away at the age of 72. Born in Burlington, Iowa, Dobson's passion for surfing led him to become a prominent surfer, skateboard pioneer, and master of surfboard fin design. His innovative approach and dedication to the sport earned him a place in the Surfing Hall of Fame. Dobson's influence extended beyond surfing. He was also a computer programmer and managed several restaurants and hotels. His multifaceted career and contributions to surfing culture have left a lasting legacy. And then again, going out to the Encyclopedia of Surfing. Enduring and highly disciplined switchfoot surfer from San Diego, California, winner of the 1972 United States Surfing Championships, the last top-drawer California surfer to give up longboarding in 1968, and one of the first to take it back up full-time in the late 70s. Dobson's style, so much his own, Drew Campion noted in 1969, is one of the most unique and creative in the business. He is one of the best surfers in California. Dobson was born in 1947 in Washington State, spent his early years in National City, California with his grandparents, then moved with his mother to San Diego's Pacific Beach. He later said that he left home at age 12, 2 years after he began surfing. Influenced in the early 60s by ace switchfooter Butch Van Arsdale of La Jolla, Dobson, a born goofyfoot, soon became an ambidextrous wave rider, able to ride nearly as well in regular foot stance. Dobson was something of a surf world curiosity when he notched one of his first big competition wins in the early 1968 Santa Cruz event. The shortboard revolution at that moment was in full swing, and surfers had taken to the counterculture with long hair, beads, and bell-bottoms. The strong-jawed Dobson had a crew cut and rode a 9.6 longboard. Instead of making a big jump to a small board, he said at the time, I'm working down slowly. I think it's important to fully understand the difference in speed and finesse that occurs between the long and shortboard. Dobson, over the next few years, was one of California's most dependable competitors, placing highly in the elite Western Surfing Association events between 1969 and 1972, and winning the 1972 U.S. Championships. The results kept coming. In 1973, he won the U.S. kneeboarding title, and in the 1975 U.S. Championships, He placed third in the men's division, second in longboarding, and third in kneeboard. As longboarding began to return to West Coast surf breaks in the late 70s, the perennially fit Dobson came out of semi-retirement, perfected the nose ride 360, and proved nearly unbeatable in longboard competition. He placed first in the 1981 Dewey Weber Invitational Longboard Classic in Manhattan Beach, and 6 times won the prestigious Oceanside Longboard Contest during the late 80s and early 90s. Dobson's mental and physical health deteriorated in the 2010s, and on 2 occasions it was rumored that he had died. He took a turn for the better in the early 20s, and in 2022 was inducted into the San Diego Surfing Hall of Fame and received some long overdue surf media attention as well. So again, we bid them farewell. If you ever get the chance to talk with some of the legends of surfing, make sure you do it. I know I sometimes feel a little ridiculous if I see somebody and want to shake their hand, but make sure that you at least try, because you never know if you'll get the chance otherwise. Well, thank you for listening along. I hope you enjoyed today's story. Until next time, keep your stoke high and your bottom turns tight, and I'll see you in the lineup.